The night was quiet. Over the great cities of Earth, the sky was calm, stars shining in silence. People were sleeping, dreaming about their small lives, never knowing that tomorrow would not be normal. Far above, in the cold, dark space, something was moving. Something not human. Something not from this world. It started with a signal. At first, it was just noise in the deep space antennas. Scientists thought it was interference, maybe some broken satellite. But then the noise repeated. It repeated again, with rhythm, with design. It was not random. It was a message. Governments were informed. Military bases went on alert. But before they could prepare, the sky changed forever. A shadow fell across the moon. Cameras around the world showed it live. People gasped as the moonlight disappeared behind a colossal shape. It was not one ship. It was hundreds, each one larger than a city. Metallic, dark, covered with glowing lines like rivers of fire. People screamed. Some prayed. Some fainted. News reporters shouted into their microphones, "Aliens, they are here. The invasion has begun." For the first time in human history, the whole world stopped. No wars, no borders, no politics. Only fear. The alien fleet settled into Earth's orbit like hunters circling their prey. Slowly, one of the ships opened. A glowing sphere detached and drifted toward the planet. It moved with silent power, entering the atmosphere without fire or sound. Within seconds, it was floating above New York City. The sphere expanded, unfolding, like a flower of metal. A holographic figure appeared above it, towering, glowing, its face strange and cold. Its eyes were like burning silver. It spoke. The voice was deep, metallic, echoing across the sky in every language at once. From Tokyo to Cairo, from London to Sao Paulo, every human heard the same words in their own tongue. "Humans of Earth," the alien declared. "We are the Krail Dominion. You are surrounded. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your armies cannot stop us. Surrender, and we may allow some of you to live. Resist, and your world will burn." The sound froze the blood in every human heart. It was not just a threat. It was a sentence. The hologram continued. "You have 7 of your days to decide. Your leaders will kneel, or your species will vanish." And with that, the figure vanished. The sphere folded into itself and returned to the mothership. The skies remained filled with the silent, unmoving giants of metal. On the ground, chaos exploded. People ran through the streets, cars crashed, sirens wailed. In homes, families hugged each other, crying, whispering prayers. In parliaments and military bunkers, leaders shouted, argued, and panicked. The question on every tongue was the same. Should humanity surrender? Some voices said yes. "We cannot fight them. Look at their ships. They are gods. If we resist, we will all die." Others shouted no. "If we kneel now, we are not human anymore. We will be slaves or worse." But no one had an answer. In the middle of this chaos, scientists in deep labs studied the alien signal. Military satellites watched the skies. Soldiers were ordered to prepare, even though they knew their weapons were useless. The people of Earth did not sleep that night. Everywhere the same questions whispered in the dark. Why are they here? What do they want from us? Do we even have a chance? On the 7th floor of the United Nations building, the Emergency Council sat in silence. The leaders of Earth had gathered, faces pale, voices weak. They had never felt so small. Outside, the alien fleet floated like mountains of steel, blotting out the stars. Their glowing lines pulsed slowly like the heartbeat of a predator waiting for the kill. Children looked up at the night sky and asked their parents, "Will they destroy us?" Parents gave no answer. They simply held their children tighter. And, somewhere, hidden beneath the oceans and deserts, secret bunkers lit up. Men and women in uniforms whispered to each other. Scientists brought out files that had been locked away for decades. Generals looked at silent machines, machines that had never been shown to the public, because while the world trembled, a few knew the truth. Humanity had been waiting. But the aliens did not know this. The Krail Dominion believed humans were weak. They believed Earth was an easy conquest. They believed surrender was certain. They were wrong. The arrival was not the end. It was only the beginning. The world did not wake up to a sunrise. It woke up to fear. Every screen, every radio, every device replayed the alien message. You have 7 days, kneel or vanish. Those words echoed in people's hearts like the sound of a ticking clock. Governments declared states of emergency. Borders closed. Armies were called home. But none of it mattered. Everyone knew the truth. Tanks, planes, and missiles were toys compared to the mountains of steel floating above Earth. The streets of panic. The cities. Fear became chaos. Shops were raided, food and water stolen. People rushed to banks, trying to withdraw money that suddenly meant nothing. Roads filled with cars, horns screaming, families trying to escape somewhere, anywhere that felt safe. But there was no safe place. The alien ships were everywhere. Some hovered in orbit like silent gods. Others glided through the skies, black shadows against the clouds. No shots were fired, no bombs dropped. Their silence was worse than violence. It was a reminder. We control. You all ready? Children asked their parents, why don't we fight back? And parents holding tears whispered, because we cannot win. Voices of surrender on television, experts argued. One voice, a trembling scientist, said, they are too advanced. If they wished, they could burn Earth to ashes in minutes. The logical choice is surrender. If we kneel, perhaps they will show mercy. Many agreed. Whole communities gathered in churches, temples, mosques, begging for a miracle, or preparing to bow before their new rulers. Some even held signs on rooftops. Welcome, lords. We surrender. The fear of death was stronger than pride. Whispers of resistance, but not everyone believed in surrender. Some voices rose in defiance. A soldier's widow shouted into the cameras, we are not sheep. If they want Earth, they must bleed for it. Her words spread like wildfire across the net. Small groups began whispering about fighting back. In underground forums and secret channels, people asked, what if our leaders have hidden weapons? What if we are stronger than they think? What if humanity has one last card to play? The whispers were small compared to the cries of surrender. But they were growing, the leaders' silence. In the United Nations building, the leaders of the world sat in fear. Every speech was empty. Every word tasted of weakness. Some presidents argued for peace, begging to kneel before the aliens. Others shouted for resistance, but their eyes betrayed their doubt. No decision came. No plan was made. Only silence, heavy and poisonous. The aliens had not attacked yet. That was the worst part. The waiting. The knowing. The 7 days stretched like an open wound. The shadow of the ships above Earth. The alien fleet did not move. Their ships floated in the skies, silent and massive. Cities learned to live under their shadow. Children pointed at them in terror. Adults refused to look up at all. In New York, an alien cruiser blocked the sun. Streets that were once bright and alive now lived in permanent twilight. In Paris, another ship hovered above the Eiffel Tower, glowing lines humming softly like a predator breathing. In Beijing, one ship released small drones, black insects buzzing across the sky, scanning everything. Everywhere, the message was the same. We are watching. You cannot hide. The human heart. And yet, in the middle of fear, sparks of courage appeared. Doctors worked without rest, tending to the injured from riots and panics. Firefighters rescued people trapped in burning buildings caused by chaos. Ordinary men and women risked their lives to help strangers. Fear was spreading, yes, but so was something else, something the aliens had not expected. Hope. The countdown. Day 1 passed. People still panicked. Day 2 came. Some cities calmed, as if exhaustion had smothered their fear. Day 3 arrived and whispers of secret meetings began. Soldiers moved in silence. Scientists vanished from their homes, taken to hidden bases. The public did not know what was happening, but something was moving beneath the fear. Something was preparing. The alien arrogance from their ships, the Krail Dominion watched and laughed. Their commanders said, "Look at them, they fight each other more than us." Another replied, "They are weak animals. They will beg before the seventh day." They were confident, too confident. They did not see the sparks in human eyes. They did not hear the quiet whispers of resistance in the shadows. They thought fear had broken humanity. But fear was not breaking them, it was forging them. The final night of fear. On the sixth night, as the deadline drew close, Earth was silent. No riots, no speeches, no screams. The world was holding its breath. Children slept beside their parents, clutching toys. Soldiers stared at their rifles, wondering if they would matter. Leaders stared at the sky, waiting for the final dawn. The aliens thought it was silence of surrender. But in hidden places, deep under the oceans and mountains, a different silence was growing. The silence of preparation. The silence before a storm. Because fear was not the end. Fear was the seed of resistance. And soon, that seed would grow into fire. Fear ruled the surface of Earth. But deep below, in places unknown to ordinary people, a different story was unfolding. In the deserts, in the mountains, even under the oceans, hidden bunkers came alive. Rusted doors opened for the first time in decades. Lights flickered on in forgotten tunnels. Men and women in uniform stepped into rooms filled with machines that the world never knew existed. The meeting in the dark in one such bunker, far beneath the Colorado mountains, the air was tense. The room was large, filled with glowing screens and maps of Earth. Around a steel table sat generals, scientists, and leaders of secret projects. They did not waste time with greetings. Everyone already knew why they were there. On the table lay a single file, thick, heavy, stamped with one word in red, Nemesis. General Harris, his voice like stone, spoke first. "The world believes we are helpless. The aliens believe we are ready to kneel. They are wrong." A young scientist adjusted her glasses nervously. "Sir, if we reveal Nemesis, there is no turning back. Once it begins, humanity cannot hide anymore." The general's eyes hardened. "We were never meant to hide. Secrets buried in silence decades earlier, when the first strange signals from deep space were detected, some governments had guessed the truth. Humanity was not alone. They had no proof, no contact, but enough fear to act. A secret alliance was formed beyond borders, beyond politics. While the world argued and fought wars, these hidden groups worked in silence. Scientists built weapons not for each other, but for an enemy that might one day come from the stars. And now, that day had arrived. The weapon with no name, the scientists opened the file. Inside were designs, sketches, and codes. The project was not a single machine, but many things combined. Satellites hidden among the stars, AI systems buried under continents, experimental energy weapons stored in underground vaults. The generals called it Nemesis. The scientists called it madness. It was never tested, one engineer whispered. "It was never supposed to be tested," another replied. "But now," the general said firmly, "we have no choice." Doubts and fears, not everyone agreed. One leader slammed his fist on the table. "If this fails, the aliens will destroy us faster. You will be giving them a reason to crush Earth without mercy." Another answered, "And if we do nothing, they will crush us anyway. At least this way we fight on our feet, not on our knees." The room fell silent. The hum of the machines was the only sound. A glimpse of power to prove Nemesis was real. The scientists activated a screen. It showed a video recorded years earlier in a desert test site. A target, a block of reinforced steel, stood under the hot sun. Suddenly, a beam of invisible energy struck it. The steel glowed red, then white, then vanished into dust. Not broken, not melted, erased. Even the generals watching the video looked uneasy. "This is what we have," the scientist said softly. "It is not perfect. It is dangerous even for us. But it is the only weapon Earth has that they will not expect." The countdown to choice. The generals began to plan. Nemesis would not be revealed yet. It needed timing. It needed strategy. If they showed it too soon, the aliens would adapt. If they waited too long, humanity would be too weak to use it. So they waited, silent as shadows, while the world above trembled. The public had no idea. On the streets, people still cried, begged, and surrendered. On television, leaders still debated uselessly, but underground preparations began. Cables connected, codes exchanged, warheads awakened. The hidden Flame One soldier, guarding the bunker door, asked his captain quietly, "Do you think we can win?" The captain did not answer at first. He looked at the glowing maps, at the giant ships circling Earth like vultures. Then he whispered, "I don't know, but I know one thing. If Nemesis works, the aliens will never forget the day they came to Earth." Alien eyes, watching meanwhile far above, the Krail Dominion observed. Their sensors picked up movement, strange power spikes deep underground. Their commanders noticed but dismissed it. Primitive defenses, they said. Pointless struggles. Let them prepare, it will not matter. Their arrogance blinded them. They did not understand the fire that was growing in human hearts. The spark. Before the storm, day 4 of the countdown ended. 3 days remained. On the surface, the fear still ruled. But in the shadows, plans turned into action. Nemesis was waking. And with it, humanity's true face was about to be revealed. The aliens expected surrender. What they would find was something far more dangerous. Not submission, not weakness, but a storm. The countdown reached the 4th day. The world waited in silence, hearts heavy with dread. But the aliens did not wait any longer. High above Earth, the Krail Dominion prepared their show of strength. They had demanded surrender, but humanity had not yet answered. To them, silence was defiance. To crush that defiance, they would make an example. The descent of fire from one of the colossal motherships, smaller vessels detached, sleek black ships shaped like blades. They cut through the atmosphere with burning trails glowing red as they descended. The first target, Rio de Janeiro. People screamed as the alien ships hovered above the city. With a single pulse of light, a stadium crumbled into dust. Another beam struck the ocean, boiling water and sending tidal waves crashing against the shore. News channels broadcast every second. The world watched in terror as entire neighborhoods burned. Then Paris, then Cairo, then Mumbai. The aliens did not destroy the cities completely, only enough to remind humans of their weakness, like predators clawing at their prey before the kill. The world trembles. Panic erupted again. Mass evacuations, riots, families separated in the chaos. Every human now understood the truth. The aliens were not bluffing. Governments were silent. Leaders gave no orders. The fear of making the wrong choice kept them frozen. Humanity looked leaderless, powerless, ready to collapse. The Krail Dominion was pleased. Their commanders sneered, "Look at them. They break so easily. In 3 more days they will beg." But they did not see what was happening beneath their feet. The silent defense in underground bunkers, Nemesis began to awaken. Hidden satellites, long thought to be space junk, activated. Their panels opened, revealing strange devices that absorbed sunlight and stored impossible energy. On the ocean floor, giant towers rose slowly, disguised as ridges of rock until now. They pulsed with blue light, sending coded signals across the globe. And in the mountains, massive cannons, long buried under stone, shifted as their cores hummed to life. For the first time, humanity's secret weapons stirred. The unexpected. Counter. When alien ships entered the skies above Berlin, they expected no resistance. Crowds screamed and ran as beams charged for another strike. But then, something happened. A soundless flash cut through the air. One alien ship froze mid-flight, its glowing lines flickering like dying veins. Then, with a violent shudder, it exploded into pieces. The blast echoed across the city. For a moment, silence followed. And then, the impossible. Cheers. Screams of joy. People looked up, eyes wide, unable to believe what they had seen. Another flash. A second alien ship collapsed, swallowed by its own implosion. The aliens were stunned. "This is impossible," one captain shouted. "These creatures, they have weapons we did not detect." But it was too late. Humanity had fired the first, shots of defiance, the awakening of Nemesis. The hidden systems worked together like parts of a giant beast. Orbital satellites locked targets. AI systems calculated alien weaknesses in milliseconds. Plasma cannons fired beams invisible to the human eye, striking the ships at their core. In seconds, 3 alien vessels were gone. The world gasped. News channels replayed the explosions. Children pointed at the sky with new hope. For the first time, humans felt something stronger than fear. Resistance. Humanity's roar in the United Nations. The silence finally broke. Leaders who once shook with fear now stood taller. One voice spoke what millions were feeling. "We can fight." The word spread like fire. Across the planet, people stood in the streets, shouting, crying, cheering. Soldiers who once expected to die now held their rifles with pride. Humanity was no longer waiting for death. Humanity was fighting back. The aliens raged, but the Krail Dominion was not amused. In their flagship, the alien commander slammed his clawed hand on the console. "These insects dare resist us. Increase the attacks. Show them what true destruction means." New fleets detached, larger and deadlier than before. Their weapons glowed brighter, hungrier. The first strike of humanity had wounded their pride, and pride demanded blood. The storm approaches an Earth. The secret bunkers buzzed with urgency. Scientists shouted commands, generals issued orders, and Nemesis spread its reach further. But everyone knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would come harder now, stronger, with full force, and humanity's hidden weapon, still untested, at its true scale, would be pushed to its limits. In the shadows of fear, hope had been born, but hope alone would not save the world. The first strike was not victory. It was a signal. The war had truly begun. The world had seen the unthinkable. Alien ships, once believed untouchable, were falling from the sky. Humanity had struck back, and for the first time, the invaders were bleeding. But what the world did not yet know was how. Whispers across. The Globe News channels replayed the same footage. Alien vessels shattering in sudden flashes of light. Experts argued endlessly. Some claimed it was nuclear missiles. Others said it was experimental lasers. Nobody truly knew. Crowds filled the streets again, but this time, not with fear. They chanted, shouted, raised flags. In every language, one message echoed, "We fight. We fight." The aliens had wanted terror. Instead, they had awakened defiance. Inside the hidden bunkers, beneath the Rocky Mountains, the command center of Project Nemesis buzzed like a hive. Screens glowed with alien ship patterns, energy readings, and strike coordinates. Soldiers moved quickly, carrying coded messages. Scientists worked with trembling hands but fierce eyes. At the center of it all stood General Harris, the man who had sworn never to kneel. He faced the glowing wall of data with a hard expression. A young officer rushed to him. "Sir, the world is asking how we destroyed those ships. They want answers." The general shook his head. "Not yet. If we reveal everything, the aliens will adapt. For now, let them wonder." But soon hiding Nemesis would no longer be possible. The alien shock far above Earth, the Krail Dominion gathered in their command chambers. Their commanders were furious. "How can this be?" one roared. "These creatures were supposed to be primitive. Their weapons should not even scratch our shields." Another snarled, "Perhaps they found ancient technology, or perhaps we underestimated them." The Supreme Commander slammed his fist on the table, claws scraping metal. "Underestimated? Impossible. They are apes, nothing more. Whatever weapon they used, we will crush it as we crush them." Yet even in their arrogance, a seed of doubt began to grow. The secret unveiled. On the fifth day, humanity decided to reveal the truth, not to the aliens, but to its own people. The United Nations broadcast went live. Every screen in the world flickered, showing the faces of leaders who days ago had looked broken. Now they stood taller, stronger. A woman spoke first. People of Earth, we are not defenseless. For decades, our brightest minds prepared for the day we might face this threat. We built something hidden, something powerful. We call it Project Nemesis. Gasps spread across living rooms, shelters, and streets. Project Nemesis? The name alone sent chills through people's veins. The leader continued. It is not one weapon, it is many. Satellites above us, cannons below us, artificial intelligence faster than any mind. Together they form our shield and our sword. Behind her, screens showed brief images, satellites glowing like stars, giant cannons rising from the earth, energy waves slicing through alien ships. For too long, she said firmly, the aliens believed we would kneel. But today, we tell them, humanity kneels to no one. The broadcast ended, and the world erupted. Cheers thundered in cities. Soldiers saluted with new pride. Children shouted the word Nemesis like a battle cry. The secret was no longer secret. Humanity's weapon had a name, and now the whole galaxy would know it. Alien fury on the mothership, the Krail commanders raged. They dare show defiance to the Dominion? One hissed. They are insects shouting at giants, another spat. Buddy. The Supreme Commander's eyes narrowed. Insects do not kill warships. This nemesis must be destroyed before it destroys us. He pointed at Earth, voice like thunder. Prepare the full fleet, no more games, we end them now. The human spirit ignites back on Earth. The revelation lit fires in human hearts. Farmers volunteered to supply armies. Engineers offered to strengthen Nemesis systems. Hackers worked day and night to defend against alien cyber attacks. Ordinary people, once frozen by fear, now became part of the resistance. Nemesis was more than a weapon. It had become a symbol, a reminder that humanity was not prey, humanity was the storm. A moment of quiet resolve late at night. General Harris stood in the bunker staring at the glowing maps. His aide asked softly, "Do you think Nemesis can win, sir?" The general did not smile. He did not lie. "I don't know," he said. "But I know this, better to fight and die as humans than to live as slaves." His words spread quietly among his soldiers. They repeated them like prayer, like truth. The calm. Before the tempest, the fifth day ended. 2 days remained. Above, Earth, alien ships gathered, glowing brighter, preparing for the largest attack yet. Below Earth, Nemesis powered up, energy humming through buried cores. And in human hearts, fear was gone. Only fire remained. The aliens had expected surrender, but what they had unleashed instead was war. The sixth day began not with silence, but with thunder. Above Earth, the alien fleet moved at last. Their patience was gone, their arrogance wounded. From the motherships, wave after wave of smaller cruisers poured into the skies. They came like a storm of black knives, filling the horizon with burning light. The Dominion had one goal now: destroy Nemesis. Crush the humans completely. The sky on Fire Cities looked upward and saw the end coming. Thousands of ships descended, their weapons glowing, their shadows blotting out the sun. People clutched one another, whispering prayers. Others raised fists, shouting defiance. Then the first strike came. Alien beams fell from the sky like rivers of fire. Skyscrapers crumbled. Streets cracked open. Explosions painted the horizon red. The world shook. The invasion had begun. The awakening of Nemesis deep beneath mountains, oceans, and deserts, Nemesis answered. One by one, hidden cannons rose from the earth, their cores blazing blue. Satellites disguised as harmless junk rotated into new positions. AI systems, silent until now, spoke in cold, steady voices. Targets locked. Energy levels optimal. Engage. The world trembled again, but this time it was humanity's power shaking the heavens. A single beam fired from the Andes Mountains, slicing an alien cruiser in half. Another shot erupted from the Sahara, striking 3 ships at once and turning them into glowing dust. From orbit, satellites unleashed invisible waves that bent alien shields until they cracked like glass. The sky lit with war, the battle cry of humanity. Across the world, people poured into the streets, not to flee, but to cheer. Every explosion of an alien ship became a celebration. Every fireball raining from the sky was proof humanity was fighting. Humanity was striking back. The cry spread from city to city in every language. Nemesis! Nemesis! It was no longer just a weapon. It was the voice of Earth itself. Alien desperation on the alien command deck. Panic grew. Screens flashed red warnings. Captains shouted over one another. They are destroying our fleet. Our shields are failing. This technology, how can primitives possess this? The Supreme Commander snarled, his silver eyes burning. Enough! Send the core ships, burn their planet to ash! Massive warships, each the size of a mountain, shifted into position. Their weapons glowed with destructive power strong enough to erase entire cities. The Dominion would sacrifice Earth itself if it meant victory. Humanity's last gamble. In the bunker, General Harris watched the massive ships move. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. If those weapons fire, Earth is finished. Nemesis must hit first. The AI spoke calmly. Calculating strike. Probability of success, 43%. Then we make it 100%, Harris growled. Fire everything we have. Orders flew. Keys turned, codes entered. Nemesis screamed to life with a force no human ear could truly understand. From every corner of Earth, beams converged. Mountains, oceans, deserts, skies. Thousands of strikes aligned toward the largest warship. The alien giant fired. A burning sphere of energy roared downward, aimed at the heart of Earth. But Nemesis struck first. The fall of giants. The beams pierced the alien warship's core. For a moment, the ship glowed brighter than the sun. Then, with a deafening silence, it imploded. The energy it carried tore through the sky, vanishing into nothingness. The shockwave sent alien ships spinning out of control. Some collided and exploded. Others simply shut down, their systems dead. The Supreme Commander roared in disbelief. Impossible! Nothing should have this power. But Nemesis did. And Nemesis was only growing stronger. The turning tide ship fell. Explosions painted the night sky with colors unseen before. The Earth's atmosphere burned with light, as if the heavens themselves were celebrating humanity's fury. The aliens, once hunters, were now prey. Their formations broke. Their voices screamed across their comms. For the first time in their long reign across the stars, the Dominion felt something alien to them. Fear, humanity's roar to the stars' general. Harris clenched his fist as reports came in. Enemy losses, severe. Our systems, holding. Humanity still stands. Around the world, people shouted, cried, and laughed. Fear was gone. In its place burned a single truth. Earth was no longer weak. One scientist whispered as she watched the sky blaze. We were never prey. We were always the storm. The 6th day ends when the fires dimmed. The sky was littered with debris. Alien wreckage burned like falling stars. Only a fraction of the once proud fleet remained, limping back toward orbit, broken and stunned. The humans had done the impossible. They had faced gods and shattered them. But in the alien flagship, the Supreme Commander's eyes narrowed. His pride was gone, but his hatred remained. This is not over, he hissed. If we fall here, the galaxy will laugh at us. No, we will not fall. Prepare the final assault. This planet will drown in blood. The 6th day had given Earth hope. The 7th would decide everything. The 7th day dawned. But the sun was hidden behind smoke, ash, and the burning wreckage of alien ships. Earth had survived the 6th day. Humanity had fought back with Nemesis, and the impossible had happened. The great Krail fleet had bled. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion had faced defeat. But it was not over. The last push high above Earth, the alien flagship prepared its final strike. It was enormous, larger than a continent, pulsing with rivers of silver light. Its weapons glowed with power strong enough to tear the planet apart. Inside, the Supreme Commander's face twisted with rage. "We will not leave this rock in shame. If the humans will not kneel, then they will burn with their world." Around the flagship, the few surviving cruisers formed a shield. They would not retreat. They would sacrifice everything for one last chance to destroy Earth. The human response. Deep, below the mountains, Nemesis systems screamed warnings. Screens flashed red. The AI spoke calmly. Enemy preparing planet killer strike. Impact in 12 minutes. The bunker filled with silence. Every human in that room knew. If the weapon fired, Earth was finished. Nemesis could defend cities, destroy ships, but a planet killer was beyond its limits. General Harris closed his eyes. For the first time, doubt touched him. But then he looked around. Soldiers, engineers, scientists, all eyes on him, waiting. He slammed his fist down. "Then we don't wait to defend. We finish them. We end this war today." The final plan Nemesis was powerful, but even it needed more. The only way to stop the flagship was not to shoot it from afar, but to strike at its very heart. Target. Their command core, the AI advised. Probability of success in 17%. The room fell quiet. 17% was suicide. But General Harris stood tall. 17 is better than 0. Aim everything we have. Fire when ready. Across the globe, Nemesis cannons recharged. Satellites aligned like stars forming a deadly constellation. Buried reactors unleashed power never meant for the surface world. Humanity placed everything, its hope, its rage, its survival, into one final shot. The clash of titans. The alien flagship descended lower, its weapons glowing brighter, the air itself trembling under its power. Lightning cracked across the sky. The earth seemed to groan beneath the weight of its fury. The commander raised his claw. "Fire!" At that same second, Nemesis roared. Beams of light, energy invisible to the naked eye but powerful enough to split mountains, shot upward from every corner of the globe. They converged into a single storm, striking the flagship with the force of a dying sun. The sky tore open. Thunder rolled across continents. The alien shields shattered. The flagship screamed as its hull cracked, rivers of silver fire spilling into the void. The Dominion's greatest pride was breaking. The last words of the enemy inside. Chaos reigned. Alarms blared. Captains screamed. Systems collapsed. The Supreme Commander stared at the screens, disbelief in his glowing eyes. This cannot be. They were supposed to kneel. His voice shook for the first time in his life. He whispered one final word. Not of command, but of fear. Humans. Then the flagship exploded. The silence after the storm. The blast lit the skies brighter than 1,000 suns. Every window on Earth shook. Every human looked upward and saw it. The fall of the invincible. The alien fleet was gone, burned, shattered, ash drifting into the endless dark. For a long moment, Earth was silent. Not a cheer, not a cry. Only stunned, breathless silence. Then, like a wave, it began. Shouts, cheers, tears, the sound of victory. From New York to Nairobi, from London to Lagos, from Tokyo to Toronto, the world roared together. The nightmare was over. Humanity had won. The message to the stars, but victory was not enough. Humanity had been attacked, threatened, treated like animals to be conquered. That would never be forgotten. In the bunker, General Harris gave one final order. Broadcast. All across the galaxy, Nemesis turned its reach outward. Transmitters pulsed, carrying a signal far beyond Earth, into the dark between stars. The Sci-Fi message was simple. A human voice spoke it, steady and proud. To any who watch, to any who plan. We are not prey. We are not weak. We are humanity. If you come to our world, do not expect surrender. Expect resistance. Expect fire. Expect destruction. The words echoed into the void, a warning to all civilizations who might be listening. The dawn of humanity on Earth. People embraced one another. Soldiers stood at attention. Children laughed through tears. For the first time, humanity was not divided by borders or flags. It stood united under one truth. Survival had forged them into something stronger than they had ever imagined. And somewhere, deep in the galaxy, other races heard the message. Some listened with curiosity, some with fear, some with hatred. But all understood one thing: Earth was no longer silent. The age of humanity had begun. The final image. The camera rose above the planet, showing the blue sphere wrapped in clouds and oceans, scarred but alive. Above it floated the wreckage of alien ships, drifting like broken teeth around a beast that had refused to die. And across the stars, the message continued to echo. We are the storm.